Thinking about buying a house in Ohio? What's different about houses in Ohio compared to other places? Did you know that Ohio basements often have sump pumps with open water pits? Or that radon is a common concern in this area? Let's dive into the unique things about Ohio homes that might catch you off guard so that we can mitigate unwanted surprises on your house hunt or at inspections, and how to handle these with confidence. I love helping folks find homes in our friendly, welcoming region, and I know that moving to a new state can be an adventure, especially when it comes to figuring out the local housing quirks. Hi there, I'm Lydia Rowe, a realtor here in Tip City, and on this channel we like to talk about all things living in the Miami Valley of Ohio. Today I'm here to walk you through 5 things that you might not know about Ohio homes but should. From radon testing to cedar siding upkeep, I'll break it down so that you can feel confident and stay informed. Stay tuned to the end for a bonus tip about our purchase contracts here that could save you some pretty big mistakes, as well as an opportunity to grab a free buyer's guide. Let's get started. First up, radon. This naturally occurring gas is produced from uranium in the soil. And because Ohio's soil tends to have higher levels, radon can seep up into homes. Now I know radon sounds scary, but don't worry, radon is common here, and testing for it is a routine part of buying a home in Ohio. Testing is quick and simple. If the home has higher levels, installing a mitigation system usually is between $1,200 and $1,800, and that's going to safely vent it outside, making your home just as safe as any other. It's also worth noting that around 50% of Ohio homes have detectable radon, so you're in good company. I tell my clients not to skip the test, but don't let the results scare you either. Radon mitigation is effective and helps keep you and your family safe. Now, I'm by no means an expert, but one important thing to note is that radon is not considered dangerous unless you have repeated exposure over a very long term. So you can safely move into a home with high levels of radon and even live there for months without worry. It's the long-term exposure that's the danger. Also, if your realtor negotiates for the seller to pay for mitigation system, it's best to have it installed and the radon tested again before closing. If this is not a possibility, because sometimes contractors are backed up a few months, it's pretty safe to just get the money at closing to pay for it and have it installed after close. But there's always a small chance that a more substantial system might be needed, or that you might need some vents sealed in the HVAC system to make it effective. So you can find out if whoever that you're using can guarantee their work or not. The chances of mitigation system not being effective is very, very small, but it's not zero. Next, let's talk about sump pumps. If you're from a drier state, this might sound odd, but in Ohio, especially with our wet springs, many basements have sump pumps to manage groundwater. The pump sits in a pit, sometimes it's covered, sometimes open, and pumps water out to keep the basement dry. I've even had clients ask before, why is there an open hole with water in this nice home? Here's something critical. Because sump pumps run on electricity, they can stop working if power goes out during a storm, which is when you need them most. If you're buying a home with a sump pump, I recommend looking into a backup system like a battery or a generator. Some people also opt for smart sump pump alarms, which can alert you if there's an issue. Keeping the pit clear of debris, testing the pump regularly, and investing in a backup plan will save you from surprises. Next up is water-permeable crawl spaces. If you're interested in an older Ohio home, especially one from pre-1970s era, you'll want to know about water-permeable crawl spaces. These spaces were actually designed to let a bit of water in, which helped relieve pressure against the foundation. So a little moisture isn't necessarily a bad sign, it's part of the design. Ohio homes are also notorious for mold, thanks to our humid summers. Not all mold is harmful, so don't panic if your inspector spots some, but you do want it addressed and mitigated. For those with allergies or sensitivities, extra mold testing by a third-party lab can be a good idea, as they're less likely to find issues where none exist. Now, if crawl space moisture is a concern, consider budgeting for waterproofing to modernize the design, or look at newer homes that already have updated foundations. Let's talk siding. There are so many different kinds of siding that you're going to find here in Ohio, including vinyl, cement, brick, stucco, metal, wood, and even asbestos. Now, that might freak you out, but if it's still in good condition and you keep it painted and in good repair, it's not necessarily something to be concerned about. It's fairly common in houses built between 1920 and 1970. Asbestos is dangerous when it is damaged, and the microscopic ceramic fibers are released. So sometimes rather than removing it, it's painted or even covered up with vinyl siding. Cedar siding is the most common form of wood siding that you're going to find here. Cedar adds a cozy, rustic charm to Ohio homes and is usually an upgrade from vinyl, but it does require some upkeep. For instance, cedar siding needs staining or painting every 5 to 7 years to protect it from moisture and extend its lifespan. Also, something you might not know or think about is that cedar siding is also a bit of a magnet for woodpeckers if you live by the woods. These little guys sometimes poke holes in cedar siding, which can then invite other uninvited critters like insects or small animals into your walls. If you're going with cedar, you'll want to keep up with maintenance, make sure to repair any rotted or damaged sections, and keeping a good coat of paint or stain to keep it waterproof. To prevent woodpeckers, some Ohioans have had luck posting a fake owl nearby or hanging shiny reflective materials. Cedar can really elevate the curb appeal, but staying on top of it will help you avoid surprises down the road. Last but not least, let's talk about the weather. Ohio weather can be all over the place, and there's a saying here that if you don't like the weather, just wait a few hours. We experience all 4 seasons pretty intensely, sometimes even within the same week. If you're new to this climate, insulation and energy efficiency become major priorities. Also, for homes with fireplaces, keep in mind that sellers often don't warrant them. If you plan on using it, consider getting a separate inspection, since issues like cracked chimney flues, missing mortar, or improper flashing are common but easily fixable. Being prepared can make sure that you're cozy all winter long without the worry. Okay, time for that bonus tip that I told you about. The purchase contracts here in Ohio. I found that many moving from other states are used to having a due diligence time period as part of their purchase contracts, and during that time they can research the area, they can research schools, crime rate, sex offenders list, do their home inspections. Here in Ohio, although we do have a time frame for inspections, appraisals, surveys, reviewing HOA documents, and home insurance on the contract, our contracts specify that the due diligence of researching the neighborhood, crime rate, sex offenders list, school ratings, job opportunities, that all be done before entering into a contract. In other words, when you make an offer on a house and if it's accepted, you'll actually be in breach of contract if you terminate the contract for any of those reasons. So it's a good idea here to research those things before even going to look at houses. And if you're unable to see a house in person before moving here, make sure that you hire a realtor to represent you who'll be willing to do a video walkthrough with you and who will tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly, because you aren't going to see under sinks or inside electrical panels or furnace rooms, and you're not going to smell the cat pee or see the spots on the ceiling on a video tour or pictures. So there you have it. 5 things that you might not know about Ohio homes. Moving to Ohio is exciting, and these tips are here to help you make that transition smooth. I have step-by-step guides and other helpful tips in these other videos. And if you have questions about buying a home in Ohio, or you need more local insights, feel free to reach out. Also, just comment, "I want a free buyer's guide," and I'll get that to you as well. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to helping you make Ohio feel like home.